Hello, here I am at Fulda train station waiting to head to Rüdesheim for the day with the other international social work girls. So Rüdesheim is within the state of Hessen, as is Fulda. So as a university student, I get free train travel on regional trains as well as the buses within the state. So here we took 2 trains to get to Rüdesheim, connecting in Frankfurt. So here we have arrived after our 3 hours of train travel. I know I made it look really quick. And the first place we headed was the town centre to meet with our tour guide. So we took a group tour of the town with one of our teachers. And here we are just walking to the town centre now. So this area is a big tourist area, so there was so many people. But the easiest and best way to get there is public transport. So there was 9 of us all up in the tour. So there was 6 of us who are international students coming from Namibia, South Korea, Georgia, United States and Australia. And the other 3 students are German nationals that also go to Fulda, but as they are going overseas next semester, they take this course as like preparation. So this isn't the whole class, but only 3 of the Germans wanted to come. So here we are following our tour guide into the old town. Here coming up on the left, he'll be pointing out the surviving parts of one of the castles that was constructed in the 12th century. So here, that building there on the left, if you can see it. So this is a part of the Brummensberg Castle. In the 13th century, the Brummers family lived here until eventually their line died out and they looked after the town and the vineyards in the area. Then we journeyed further into Old Town. So this here is the parish church of St. Jacob or Jacob, built in the 15th century. The right hand side is original, however the left hand side was rebuilt after the war. The church was bombed during the war as across the river was an important train station for the Nazis. So the guide was telling us that the air bombers were aiming for a train station one night during a storm. However, the wind picked up the bombs and they ended up landing in the heart of Rüdesheim's old town. Our tour guide told us that the half-timbered buildings are original and survived the bombings. However, the majority of the town was rebuilt following the war. Then on our walk down this alley, the guide called this the most beautiful half-timbered house in the town centre. So this was built on the old city wall. They believed it was the home of a noble family. However, the history of the building was lost during the war, so they can't be sure who exactly lived there. But as you can see, the building curves and it actually followed the wall. And we made our way through one of the original walkways of the wall. Then here on the left was a fountain. It was cute. He couldn't really tell us much about the fountain. They don't know when it was constructed or how long it's been there. Then we walked up to a winemaking museum and we're shown some of the tools that were used both centuries ago and to this day. Rüdesheim is a wine town, so it's especially known for its Riesling wines, and most of Rüdesheim is on an incline of 30 degrees, has rich soil and good temperature, so it makes it a perfect place to grow these grapes and make wine. So here are some of the tools here. Then we continue down here into the heart of the town. So most of these stores that we're walking past are actually wine restaurants, and they only serve local wines and foods. Next up we saw Siegfried's machine music cabinet. And also there is a tour train that goes around the town. So this is what it looks like. It was absolutely packed. But yes, here the museum is full of all types of musical instruments. The half-wooded structure at the front is an old watchtower, and it has been preserved and added to at a later date. So the pinkish type building that you first see there, that's the museum itself, and it was built around the old watchtower, which is coming up here on the left. Now, we had a tough time constraint, so we didn't see the whole museum, but we checked out the self-playing instruments room. So he's just explaining you can play it by yourself, or you can put €1 into the machine and it will play by itself.
You will experience here this lovely instrument.
Now we are making our way back down to the river to start our short boat tour down the river. Here's a view of the town. And here is the biggest remaining structure of the Rummelsburg Castle. So it's now used for weddings, concerts and other events. It used to be a winemaking museum. However, due to lack of interest from tourists, it was closed down as a museum in 2003. And here is the Rhine River. So we'll be that's our boat that's coming there, that's our transport down the river. We only took the boat 2 stops. First, across the river we stopped at Bingen, which is where the train station is that I was telling you about earlier that the air bombers were trying to blow up. However, we took the boat further downriver, so we went to Asmussen, which is just a little couple of k's down the river. Now, all this greenery that you're seeing in the background, that is all vineyards. So 90% of what's planted here is Pinot Noir vines, and 8 to 10% of the vineyard is also made to use what they call frost wine, which is where the grapes are exposed to 3 consecutive days of frosted conditions before being harvested. So what they do is they tie a bag around the grapes, because as they freeze they fall off the vine, and they collect in those bags, and they have those 3 days of frost before they're harvested and turned into wine. And here coming up is another castle and a watchtower. Unfortunately, there was no English translation on the boat tour, so I can't tell you much about this structure, but it is very cool. And here we are at Asmussen. So we're coming in here. So that building in the middle there, I'll get a close-up of it later. That is actually one of the oldest hotels in Germany. So this one here, it's believed to have been built in the 16th century and has been open and running consecutively since it's been opened. Now we're making our way to the first chairlift to take us up to the mountain to start our hike. And this local restaurant was really cool. It was like mermaid themed. So I tried to get pictures of all the mermaids and all the sea creatures and all sorts on the side of the building there. Now, I loved this restaurant. I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. And here we are at the start of the chairlift. So it took us about 25 minutes of lining up to get on the chairlift. But here I am on the chairlift, and it goes over other people's houses and their gardens. It's quite bizarre. And as you can see coming up, here is more grapevines. All of the land that's on any type of incline has grapes growing on it. And here's the view from the chairlift. Unfortunately, we are facing the wrong direction to get a good picture of the view, which was a shame, but you could still kind of see it. And here's me on the view. And this chairlift, I can't believe, it felt so unsafe because there's just a bar over your lap keeping you in. And we were on this chairlift for about 25-30 minutes, and the amount of people we passed with babies on their lap or dogs was ridiculous. In Germany, people take their dogs everywhere. They're allowed on buses and trains and apparently chairlifts. And to disembark from the chairlift, it does not stop, so you have to jump off while it's still moving. As you'll see in a second, I did not do this very gracefully, but I still got down safely. Me almost dropping the phone. Then we started our hike. So at the start, they've got this big pen full of deer, which all of the girls were very excited about. We spent about 15 minutes here with them trying to feed the deer, and the deer did not want a bar of it. Then we started our hike. So we hiked for about 4 kilometers, and it was all like this. This is all protected land. So it's all World Heritage listed land. And it was absolutely beautiful, and it wasn't too hot, which was really nice. So yeah, we had a really good walk. Most of it thankfully was pretty flat, but there was a couple of areas that were pretty steep uphill, which I did not film because I was too busy hyperventilating trying to get my butt up that hill. And here, that's our teacher there, Katrina. She was telling us that this is the first lookout. So here, you don't see it, but about there, I actually slipped on a bunch of rocks and almost fell over, which is so me. Managed to stay on my feet though, which I am pretty proud of. But yeah, just making our way down to this first lookout. So it was full of people. This area, obviously being known for wine, there's a lot of like self-guided tour groups, like wine drinking groups. So when we got down the bottom here, there was 2 groups together, and they were very rowdy, and they took up the entire lookout. So we ended up waiting there for about 10 minutes for them to take their photos and move on, basically, so we could actually have a look at the view. Not a bad view at all. Then we made our way to another watchtower up on the hill. This particular tower doesn't have a name, it's just a watchtower. And also not a bad view. Okay, so now we're coming up towards the end of our hike. So we're about 3.5 k's in at this point. Everyone's a little bit tired. We are all hiking in jeans because it was cold in the morning. So we are just about had it and ready for something to eat. So we're making our way over to the monument now. And then we went and had something to eat. So this here is the Nivedalwald monument. The monument was built and placed in this spot in 1871, and it was to commemorate the unification of Germany. So yes, this is the view also from the monument. And this is the monument here. So the woman that the statue was actually modelled from was actually the youngest daughter of the sculptor. And there is an angel blowing a horn, which is calling basically Germans home. And the woman has her sword down, which is like a display of peace, like there's no more fighting. And she's also holding some shrubs that are supposedly peaceful in Germany. Okay, now we are all hungry, we are all tired, so we are on the hunt for food and drink. So first we've just got to walk through this part. So the guy that built this was influenced by Greece. So that's why there's a structure that doesn't really look German in the middle of all this German nature. And there was a band singing, or like an a cappella band singing. And that's our view with our lunch. So the food that we have here is called spandicus, which is creamed cheese with garlic and paprika served with a pretzel loaf. And the wine is called Fendweisse, which is also known as new wine. It's generally made from the first harvest, and it's not as alcoholic as normal wine. It's much sweeter and it tastes a lot like Moscato. Then, of course, we took some chairlifts back down the mountain and made our way back into the town centre. This one felt a lot safer because you were actually enclosed in something, which was nice. So that's me and Mariam, we got on this one together. And of course, this is the best view of all the vineyards. So everything below us there is all vineyards. The tour guide earlier was actually telling us, although they've got machinery to help them with it, pretty much all of the vineyard is all picked by hand. So they don't have any special machines or anything to pick it. They all go in and pick it by hand. And you can see how much there is. It must take them forever to do. So here we broke off into groups. So our teacher went to a wine tasting, and four of us went home. 4 of us decided to stay and take a later train. So we stopped at some shops, and how cute are these little porcelain houses? I wanted to buy one so bad, but I was worried it'd get broken on the way home. But we got some souvenirs and some postcards and such, and the lovely sunset that's happening. So then after our shopping, we decided that we were going to check out this local wine tasting place. So here we're passing the Kaale vineyard. So Kaale is a local brand of wine. And here's the castle again. And yeah, we saw our teacher leaving the wine tasting, so we're all giving her a wave. And here we are at the wine tasting place, because we can't spend a whole day in a wine making town and not try the local wines. So here is Mariami with the coloured hair in front of me, the really curly hair. Her name is Maria. And this is Alina. She's our German tutor, so she's helping us out, and I asked her if she wanted to say hello to my family, so she's waving to you guys. Okay, so here is inside. So we're given a wine glass and there are 12 rooms. So the rooms are all set up like this. So there's fridges with the bottles, and the bottles on the top tell you what's in there. You put a coin in and it gives you a little tasting of wine. So the rooms are set up kind of like an art gallery. There's art on the walls that's for sale and sculptures that are for sale. And then you go into each room and the boards there tell you where the grapes were picked, how it was made, how long it was stored for. Here's us cheersing. So yeah, it was a really cool little setup, and you just go at your own pace. You pay €10 at the door and they give you 10 little coins, so you get 10 tastings. And then below all the plaques are the bottles of wine, so if you liked a particular tasting, you can buy a bottle there as well. We unfortunately didn't buy any, they were a bit pricey. They were very nice, but yes, we had our 10 sips each, and then we decided it was time to head home because it was going to take us 3 hours and we were all pretty tired from the day of adventuring. So luckily it wasn't a very far walk to the train station because that's it there across the road. So then on the first train we decided we were hungry, so we stopped at Macca's for dinner. Hello! I am home. I had a massive day today. Started at 7 a.m. this morning. It is now 11:30 p.m. I'm exhausted. According to my watch, we did just over 17,000 steps today, so just under 12k of walking around. I hope you enjoyed my little trip. I tried to snap as much as I could. My phone died on the way home, so yeah. I've done a lot of filming today, so I hope you enjoyed.